Compound interest. You've probably heard about it by billionaires in their 90s to 70s. We're going to talk about it. Let's get to it. See, compound interest is this concept where small changes over a prolonged period of time turn into incredibly large changes at the end of that long period of time. For example, £1,000 taken to a 20% interest, so that means every year it goes up by 20%, for 30 years would be £700,000. Now that's obviously a lot of money, right? But we need to break it down and see what kind of went into that. See, compound interest is actually a very good term for something that's incredibly important. It's essentially the multiplication of money as opposed to the addition. Instead of being paid a salary, right, where you're being paid a set amount over a set period of time and being given that exact amount every single time, you take the base of an amount of money and it increases by that amount each time, and that means that every time that base money gets bigger, the increase that it goes up by gets bigger as well. So if you want to test this out, go on compoundinterestcalculator.com, type in a number with an interest, and then see that when you set the number, for example, from 2 years of interest to 3 years, that the amount it increased was larger than the previous year. But this also shows us the issue of the strategy of compound interest. So compound interest, the issue with the strategy of compound interest is actually that it takes an incredibly long period of time for it to come into effect, or you need to have a large base sum of money. For example, a penny that doubles itself for 30 days will be worth 10 million by the end of those 30 days. But here comes the issue. So if we take that penny and we only let it multiply for 15 days, it's now only worth £300. So that penny given 15 more days, so that shows us and demonstrates us the issue with compound interest. So, at the end of it, it was able to become £10 million, but only halfway through, it was only worth £300. This means that only in the later stages of compound interest do you really see the effect, because with large sums of money, the increase is viscerally larger. And if we look at money as this perception of freedom, which is really what it's meant to be, it's the freedom for you to be able to express yourself and do what you want to do with your life. To get the true effect of compound interest, you need to be trading freedom for future freedom, which in a sense isn't necessarily the ideal situation. Much like Warren Buffett's quote, you don't want to be saving sex until you're retired. But it does also show us the power of compound interest if you don't really have any other options. See, as long as you have some sort of vehicle of interest, it essentially guarantees you large sums of money, because as opposed to additional amounts of money, you're multiplying your money. I mean, when was the last time you were expected to get a 7% increase on your salary at your job? Basically never. Whereas with compound interest, 7% each year to be increased is pretty normal. And it will happen every single year on average. Some years it will go up, some years it will go down, but that's the average. And again, if you want to see me make demonstrations of business ideas, or maybe show you some of these compound interest vehicles, make sure to leave a comment so I know that you guys would be interested in that content. And this time, instead of a quote, I want to actually just give a piece of advice I've been talking around on Discord. When it comes to things like the gym, you don't necessarily wait until you feel comfortable about going to the gym to go to the gym. You go to the gym until you start feeling comfortable and start thinking that you're good enough in the gym, right? So why do we treat other situations differently? Why do we wait until we're comfortable with investing and confident in ourselves to start investing, as opposed to start investing so you can learn, so you can become more confident? So I'll see you guys next time.